All right, so we are now recording on YouTube. Welcome traders to another crypto market update where we go through our library of alts and then talk about key levels, market structure, and discuss potential opportunities that we have within the market that we can trade both to the long side and to the short side or buy side, short side, up and down. We don't care. We're just looking for volatility. We've already talked about Bitcoin. We've already talked about the price action and what we are potentially expecting. Quick refresher. If we have not, for the people who have not seen the BTC market update that we made this morning, basically, to keep it very short, we were in a very strong downtrend. We then moved to a consolidation. Once we held this support multiple times, we can see, and then we held some lower highs. We got a squeeze. This is the apex. We broke to the upside, tested this previous market structure high like so, and now we are within a consolidation, bouncing from resistance to support. So we're making our way back down to our support of around $8,500. Once we get to this level, we're probably going to see some level of a descending trend line. We don't exactly know, but assumingly we are going to have lower lows and lower highs. We're going to have something that's going to connect the lower highs, and then once we're able to break it, then we can find something to trade. So for a long side anyways. But when we are making the move to the downside, it makes sense for us to patiently wait and be very, very patient while we are making our way to the downside, because entering close to the resistance or support is a lot easier because your back is against the wall in a sense. And if the price breaks that wall, it's going to break the market structure. For example, this resistance is kind of the wall. If it makes a higher high, well, then that means that the market structure could shift. And with market structure, we're not always going to assume, but at this point in time, because it's still early in the consolidation, we can assume that it's going to hold for the next couple bounces here. So when the price is near the resistance, it makes sense because we're near the key zone where sellers are going to be located. So we have a higher probability and a higher risk reward of being able to get that strong move from supply to demand, or vice versa. But when you're using a mid-range zone, like we see right here, it's going to be a lot more difficult to find a dependable high probability situation unless you're looking at the smaller time frames, looking for smaller pushes in between the zones like so. But if you're looking for stronger swing trades, it's going to be very difficult to enter if you are entering in a mid-range zone when you're not entering in a major supply or major demand zone. So for swing trades, that is what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the price to hit our supply, hit our demand. Right now, we're on the way down, so we want to see the price hit our demand zone, and then we're wanting to enter long, stop loss below the low, and then have our take profits kind of at the highs here, ideally. So that is the plan for a long, and then also with that said, descending trend line, getting a squeeze. That is what we're looking for. So that is the BTC market update in a sum up of about 3 minutes. So with that in mind, we're going to be a lot more cautious because we are basically right at a mid-range zone. We made a strong push to the downside. I wouldn't be surprised if we got some level of a pullback to reconnect these highs here. We don't really see a clear enough descending trend line on BTC in order for me to draw it, in order for me to say it's a confirmed area. So with that said, we're kind of at a range where we don't have a significant descending trend line really on the 1 hour chart or 4 hour chart that is going to create a nice area of confluence. All we have is our horizontal zones, and we just broke our first one here within the mid-range zone. We can see on the 4 hour, and then on the 1 hour, we're kind of right at that area if the mid-range zone is right in the middle there. So not loving where we are in terms of the possible entries, because for longs, we don't have really confirmation of a long. For shorts, all we did is break a mid-range zone. We could just climb right back up here, and then if we do get the climb back up to this top, we could see a nice double top, and then that could be a possible short entry. But at this point in time, we don't really see anything that BTC is providing that is giving us a really clear entry. So with the main king pair, the main pair not in a key zone. You know, we're looking at alts a little bit less right now because, you know, we could see a little bit of upside, we could see a little bit of downside on BTC, and that will obviously change the sentiment for these alts. So I'm going to be pretty patient here on Link. So going to just the 60-minute chart here, we see strong level of resistance at $4.70-ish. Very, very strong. That's our significant supply area. We also see a significant support or demand area at around $3.40. Very strong there. As well as two mid-range zones that I see. One being a key zone right here, $3.80. If this breaks, I think we will go to the major demand zone, but we'll see how the price action reacts to this zone. As of right now, the $3.80 range is looking like the stronger level of support. We see lots of buy pressure within the area right here, but we will see how BTC reacts. If we do see Bitcoin come back all the way down to the $85-ish $100 zone, we could see this test this low, or even break it and then test this low. We'll see how it goes. But at this point in time, like we said, we're not ideally looking for entries because we don't exactly know which way BTC is going to go at this moment. So we're going to remain patient and look for a better opportunity with some time passing. But on Chainlink, we have a resistance right here. We've held 3 times. We broke above it, and now we're holding lower highs, squeezing from a horizontal support and a descending resistance, squeezing the price, and the descending resistance seems pretty strong with more sell pressure coming in, meaning we could move to the downside. So we'll see how that goes, but overall, it's looking a little bit more bearish. On the small time frame, this is looking like an opportunity we could be interested in for a small day trade. You know, a risk reward of reward of maybe like 3-4, risk reward meaning 3-4%. Something like that, but we'll see how that goes. Maybe from here to here. But no entries just yet. So that's on Link. Nothing crazy. And we're just playing within a large consolidation. And I think you can see that a little bit more clear within this. And I just put buy zone there because that is the support zone or the demand zone, or what we call a buy zone. So haven't broken this zone. We're just consolidating sideways. I don't think that we have a major direction right here. Long term, looking at the month or looking at the weekly, obviously we're extremely bullish because of that massive wick to the downside, retesting a previous candle closure right there into a new level of support. So looking on the weekly, looks pretty dang bullish. Entering right now, you'd have a risk of around 25%. Don't know if you want that. So if BTC does move to the downside and we get closer to that buy zone around $3.50-ish, that would be, for me, an opportunity where I could enter some good entries here. And if we do break to the downside, I'll just take my losses. But looking on that weekly, that's a very strong weekly candle right there. So in my personal opinion, I'm going to start trying to slowly collect some more Link for this longer term trade that we will be having here for a longer term swing trade. So nothing to see or nothing to do just yet, but definitely planning things out here slowly. That rejects here and comes down. Yeah, we'll see where it goes. Definitely the $3.50 is the last level of support I want to see the price hit. If it goes down below lower, I have to reassess the situation. Now for BNB, first let's go take it back to the daily chart here. Pretty key zone of support we're currently at, key zone of resistance right here, support, resistance, and now we're at a support. We see a strong move to the downside. I did draw a descending trend line connecting the lower highs, and then now it looks like we are rejecting off that zone. We did create some higher lows, squeezing the price closer together, and then on the 4 hour we do see that squeeze coming into play right now. And let's just discuss that with our snip tool. So the squeeze is from the ascending zone we see right here. And we also see two resistances. We initially see a support hold for our first and then second rejection, that there's sell pressure. And then we also see with the anchor point right there, we see one touch, two touch, and then this could be the third touch, making it, yes, a dependable zone. So we got a lot of resistance coming down at around $20.80 right there, maybe a little bit further down, $20. And overall, it does look a little bit more bearish on the 4-hour time frame, at least, hitting this zone again. We do see the lows hold that area quite well, but we do see some higher lows here with the anchor point right here. 1, 2, so we got 3 touches, and then if we hold and then push a little bit higher up here, that'd be 4 touches, and we go deeper into the consolidation or deeper into the funnel. And if we do break, we could get an entry from here to at least here. And if we break further down, if BTC does fall further, we could be looking at this area here with our previous support. So that is a trade that we could be looking at for a little bit longer into the future, because we could just consolidate further down into the apex of the pattern when we don't exactly know what's going to happen within this range. I'm personally not going to be entering anything within this range until we get either a move to the upside or move to the downside potentially. So we'll see how it goes. I am open to either direction, bullish or bearish, but I'm going to play this whichever way it goes, as long as it's respecting the overall price action pattern that we see, which it currently is well respected. So not a whole lot more to go on BNB. Like I said, I don't want to really enter until we see a break in a particular zone here, closer to our support right now. But at this point, we could get a significant, like 3.5% move. If you're risking 1%, is great. 3.5 risk reward is a fantastic move. But let's just look at BNB. We're just consolidating right now, but just looking at this 5-minute chart here, because that's where we are on the hour chart. Now let's look. Oh, I don't even have it on the 5-minute chart right now. That's okay. We'll look it up on the live if it is interesting. So I'll just stick on the 4-hour chart right now. And then the next pair we are going to look at is XRP. We see that it's somewhat similar in terms of the structure compared to Bitcoin. We see that we made a strong move to the downside, and then we consolidated, formed a pretty good high here with the wicks and the candle body. We got our first major rejection, and then that kind of forms our consolidation. I do think the consolidation is a little bit higher up, although right now we're holding at one level lower, as we can see. So we do have one more resistance up here, but right now we're holding at this zone right here, and then the low is right here. So we initially see a dip down and then retesting our previous resistance seen right here as a new level of support. Right now we're just consolidating. I think I could see this support get tested again. So we're seeing a dip and then another dip, testing this support again, and then hopefully we see some descending trend line, something like this, something like this. I don't exactly know, but some respected descending trend line that we can use to get a squeeze in the price with our current level of support around 225 that we've been holding. And then if we are able to get that support to come back again and then get held, have a descending trend line, squeeze the price, creating a funnel, creating a squeeze, creating a triangle, and then we look to trade that triangle. So XRP is in a similar boat to BTC. It's a little less respected on the 4-hour chart. Let's just quickly look on the 1-hour. So we see a smaller descending trend line right here. So depending on how that breaks out, that could be the descending trend line we are going to be using as a funnel when the price does get to around these levels here. We'll see how that goes. And then if we really wanted to, we could draw a unconfirmed trend line from here as another zone as well. But I'm just going to keep the horizontal zones and then this descending zone. So now we got a little bit of a funnel here where we got an descending support and a descending resistance, creating a bit of a channel or a wedge, I should say. And then we're going to break and test and hopefully trade this wedge when it does actually break this descending trend line. So I think that's the overall trade for XRP, because we know we are in a consolidation. I'd like to see the price test this again, push down further into the 228 range or even down lower. I don't mind. And then test this zone multiple times more. We really only see 2, maybe 3, but then if we get one more soon to come, rejection, and then we come back maybe down a little bit below maybe the 229 range, and then you come and you're able to get a crack at the zone. Maybe we use this zone as an area of confluence. That would be a good range for us to long and potentially look for some take profits at the highs of the consolidation. So at this point in time, we don't have an entry, but we're cultivating and crafting our entry while the price action is moving in the direction that we're hoping that it will, which is initially to the downside. I don't mind getting a little pullback and then a significant move down, and then us pulling back and then seeing that revival of buy volume bring the price back up to our highs here. So we'll see how that goes for XRP. Nothing really screaming either buy or sell, in my opinion, just yet. So we're going to remain patient and try to stick to our plan. We will probably do a BTC market update maybe a little bit later today, but we'll also do a live trading as well. So we're going to be live trading, day trading for people who want to watch, because there are some 5-minute time frame candles that look like we are getting a pullback, forming a lower high, and then we'd ideally potentially look for a lower low after that point. So we'll see how it goes. But that is my current analysis for those three. Now we're going to go to EOS and Cardano. So on the 4-hour chart, EOS is pretty well respected here, as we can see. Let's zoom out a little bit. So we had this nice symmetrical triangle here after the dump down, where we were holding lower highs and higher lows after the move to the downside. We do have a descending trend line, creating a nice zone of confluence with our horizontal level of resistance and support. So something to keep in mind if we are looking for longs on EOS at that $4 and maybe 10-ish cent range. But as of right now, we're consolidating. We got to break above our descending resistance right here. We got to break above candle closures on the 4-hour chart, which is significant. We're pulling back, and now we're getting a squeezing, creating a wedge in the price action, holding a descending resistance, descending support, and the apex is right in the middle there. So we're getting a squeeze. If we do break our resistance, we could get a nice little push here, at least to these zones here, maybe a little bit higher, maybe even to this zone potentially. So I'm looking at the price action a little bit more bullish. Obviously, we're not entering just yet, but this is the 1-hour chart. We can see that there's a descending trend line. We're waiting for a strong push to the upside. Ideally, we want to see a pullback validating the previous resistance as a new level of support. And then we look for buyers in the market. Once we see a validation of buyers in the market, then we are looking to long. So we'll see how the price reacts when the price gets to that zone. If it breaks, we're very interested. When it pulls back, and if we see more buy volume than sell volume, if we see that the buyers are pushing the price, holding it above the zone, and there's sellers with buyers attached to them, so then there's wicks to the downside with candle closures near the open of the bearish candles on the pullback, that would be very, very bullish. We're looking to enter if that is the case, but as of right now, we are currently not looking to enter. We will notify everyone if we do have a nice little entry on EOS at this moment. The last trade is going, or the last trade, not the last trade, the last 2 pairs is going to be Ethereum and Litecoin. So we'll go over Ethereum first on the 1-hour time frame. So we just broke to the downside here with a significant move. Actually, let's go over the 4-hour because it's a little bit easier to understand. So same as a lot of pairs, we made a bearish move to the downside. We held a nice level of support. 1, 2, 3. We can even say 4. We're also holding a descending trend line. We just squeezed this as the apex. We broke to the upside, tested a significant level of resistance right here. Also, we can see it was the level of resistance that the candle closures had when we first made our move to the downside, which was this one right here. Our first pullback, we see initially right there as well. So that's a pretty key zone that we did reject. So now we're in a consolidation, right? Resistance and support. And we're nearing our support here. So we could be looking for longs for Ethereum. We don't want to look for shorts personally, in my opinion, because we're right near a very strong level of support. We're in a consolidation. We're in a sideways movement. So we want to be looking for longs at our supports and looking for shorts at our resistances. We know we are in a bearish momentum, so it does technically make more sense to look for more shorts at the resistances because the momentum is to the downside. The consolidation could be the continuation like so, but I do think that at this point in time, because it's our first break of a descending zone, it makes more sense to still look for longs. If we break, in a consolidation, we break 3 zones, then like so, and then a push, and then a push. It's getting a little overextended in the consolidation. We're probably going to get some higher, lower, low. But at this point, it's still early in the consolidation, so it makes sense to look for longs at the area of support. So, not doing it right now, but could be an opportunity right around here. So now let's go to the 1 hour chart. We see the buyers now come and start purchasing the coin here. We do see on the 4 hour, the dip down below right here is just a wick. But on the 1 hour, you actually get candles. So this is the 4 hour with just the wick protruding, and then this is the body. But on the 1 hour, you do see the actual candle closures below that zone. So we do have to keep in mind, if the price does go below here, we're not looking to short just yet because the price has come up and made a pullback now above back at the resistance, now going to be a new level of support, and then we get a break to the upside. So just keeping that in mind, if the price does dip below here a little bit, we're not going to be looking to short because of the price bouncing back above. This is a range, not a exact price chart or price line on a chart. So overall, we could draw probably another anchor point somewhere around here, and then you see these lower highs, they could get connected, and then you got another trendline breakout. You see the price come back to these lows here. On the 5-minute chart, if you do see a nice descending trend line or something like this, you could see a nice pullback to around this zone. I don't exactly know, but on the 5-minute, you could be looking at some opportunities to be longing because this is an area of demand, as we can see. So you have kind of the wind against your back with buyers right behind you. But we do have to be careful here. So on the 5-minute, we'll see if we are able to get anything. Right now, we are holding a level of resistance right here. On the 5-minute chart, we see holding a level of resistance, holding a level of resistance. So right now, we got to push. We got to push. We're holding a level of resistance. We could get another push to form a double bottom, which would have that double bottom there. So then if we're looking to enter right there, 1.5% move, 1.4% move, not crazy. But if you're risking 0.75%, that's not so bad. That's a pretty decent all right risk reward if you are able to have that as a very, very dependable pattern. So that's Ethereum. We'll go to Litecoin next. Same thing for a lot of these alts here. Oops. Just going to put that a little bit wider like so. And then I'm going to bring this up. And this is the last kind of zone within the consolidation. And then I'm going to put that like so. So on Litecoin, we see the resistance is going to be around 63. Let's just see here. 63.50, around there. That's where the top range I think will be, which is right here, the candle closure. We do see this zone right here currently at a resistance, but in my opinion, that is going to be the top of the range that's going to hold our consolidation from resistance to support. Very similar to a lot of the alts that we see in the market. just holding a zone here. We see a strong level of support at $58, somewhere around there. Hold up the price multiple times. And if we see the price come around those ranges, if we get a nice descending trend line, we could look for a squeeze. This current pair does not look nearly as well respected as compared to, let's say, for example, XRP or another alt. Let's just see what we have on the 1 hour. Yeah, nothing crazy. You've got a double top here. We're basically right at the support, but we do have a larger structured support right here, right around here. So let's make that green. So we're just in a range. I think right at this point in time, like we said, we're kind of right in the middle of the range, so we don't have a whole lot of edge, or we have less edge. It's not like we don't have edge, but we have less edge when we are trading just within mid-range zones. We have a lot more edge when we're able to find confluence of descending or ascending zones and horizontal zones where they're able to connect, like we see somewhere like so, and then we get a strong push. Or if we get the price to kind of make that low again right here, obviously that would be ideal. And then on the smaller time frame, we can make most of the volatility, of the short-term volatility, and then try to look for really, really high probability situations. But off swing trades, off of 1 hour and 4 hour, I think we just have to remain a little patient at this point in time. So that's the overall analysis. We hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please drop a comment within the YouTube comment section, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, happy trading.